Hello, my friends. Welcome to Project Management Masterclass based on the pmbok Guide 7th edition. The main aim is to find those nuggets buried in the pmbok Guide 7th edition. And today we're going to talk about a topic, situational leadership, which is on page 156 in the pmbok Guide 7th edition. Now, before the 7th edition was published, this was actually something PMI had mentioned in the PMP exam content outline. So I know a lot of you might have heard about it. So let's talk about it. You know, when you go to those interviews and they ask you, what is your leadership style? You know, some people say I'm a democratic leader, or I'm a leader who bases judgment on the individual. Well, that really tends towards the situational leadership model when you say it depends on the person and the unique situation at hand. And this is a model by two individuals who had slightly different variations of it. We're talking about Paul Hersey and Ken Blanchard. Now, in the pmbok Guide 7th edition, mysteriously only mentioned Ken Blanchard's version, but no attribution to Paul Hersey. So I like to make it clear that Paul worked with Ken on putting this together. It reads in the 7th edition, Ken Blanchard's situational leadership 2 measures project team member development using competence and commitment as the two main variables. Competence is the combination of ability, knowledge, and skill. Commitment speaks to the confidence and motivation an individual has. As an individual's competence and commitment evolve, leadership styles evolve. So here's the bottom line. Let's just take a look at the model and get it all straight. So taking a look at the model, imagine you've got someone coming into the organization and they've got a lot of enthusiasm. Let's say they're out of high school, right? They got a lot of drive. They have no shortage of that. But what they lack is understanding how to perform the job. So, as far as you are concerned, you need to be very directive with these individuals. So, as far as being directive, you could say your directive behavior is high. And for that reason, we say a directive style of leadership in the lower right quadrant. Now, this individual, let's say they're in the organization, learning, going through the organizational modalities, and they come to a point where they know a little bit more than when they just got in. However, they become a little bit disillusioned. We refer to them as disillusioned learners. So they've been in the organization for a short period of time. Now they know the enormity of what has to be done. We might need to step up our game and get more into a coaching mode with them. So we're offering them high direction, but we're also giving them a lot of support. So we're going to use the support behavior a lot more, supportive. Okay, supportive behavior and directive behavior. We're going to have high support, high direction. Here we're going to have low support and high direction. Now, even though we say high direction, bear in mind those in the coaching zone, they may not need as much direction, but it's still intermediate and higher. Now, imagine an individual that has been in the organization for standard amount of time that to qualify them as being mid-career, what have you. Those individuals, they have a whole lot of experience now compared to someone that's just coming in. But for one reason or another, they are at the point in their career where they are not very confident in the project that you've assigned them to, or they're going through a tough time and they need a lot more support than normal. We use a supporting style with these individuals. And what we mean by supporting is high support, low direction. You may also have individuals who are on a project and they're not going through any emotional problems or psychological problems about the job. It's just that they need you to support them, to give them that pep talk. You can do it. Or to prop people, their colleagues, and other stakeholders around them to perform the work in a more participative environment. We would say supporting. Last but not least, bottom left, hopefully, this is where a lot of C-level executives constantly live, and this is a delegate And in the delegating zone, this is where we assign and leave because they've got it down. Low support, low direction. They don't need to be babysat. You check in with them every now and again and just ask the question, how you doing? What's up? That's it. Low support, low direction. So the history of all of this, like I said, is Paul and Ken began to go back and put layers of paint on it, and they began to reiterate the theory over and over again, and they decided to call it situational leadership. This is situational leadership. So someone's saying, what's your leadership style? The right answer would be, I'm a situational leader and I lead depending on the situation, depending on the individual I'm dealing with, and depending on the unique organizational modalities that I find myself in. It all depends. That's the summary. So situational leadership is one of my favorite topics. Just remember the first, let's call them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, we could call this the enthusiastic beginner. 2, we could call this the disillusioned learner. 3, we could call this the capable but cautious performer. And 4, we could call this the self-reliant achiever. Now, if you go into the history of this, there are other names that these are called from Paul's perspective. And real quick, directive, you'll hear this being referred to as telling. You'll hear coaching being referred to as selling. And you could also hear supportive being referred to as participative. Okay, so there's some alternate terms for these, but when it comes to delegating is delegating. You'll hear in just general leadership industry, people referring to delegating as laissez-faire, but that is not their term, just known in industry. All right, so telling, individuals lack the specific skills required for the job, and they are willing to work the task. That's telling. Selling, individuals are more able to do the task. However, they are demotivated for this job or task, unwilling to do the task. Participating, individuals are experienced and able to do the task, but lack the confidence or the willingness to take on responsibility. And lastly, delegating, individuals are experienced at the task and comfortable with their own ability to do it well. They're able and willing to not only do the task, but to take responsibility for the task. And that's the summary of the situational leadership model, my friend. Just remember, you as a leader, your behavior could be highly directive, or it could be highly supportive, or not as supportive, or not as directive, really depends. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends. See you in the next episode.